Welcome to the Real Property Show, where we talk about building, buying, and selling residential real estate. I'm Brian Freeman, and welcome to the show. Hey everyone, hope you're doing really well today. Hey, I wanted to talk to you today about some roofing system options that you can have if you're looking at building an ICF home. So insulated concrete forms is what ICF stands for, and it's essentially you have a form that's got foam on both sides that's tied together with some plastic ties, and then that is filled with you stack those and put rebar and fill that with concrete, and that's your extra walls of your home. And a lot of people are doing these because they're in a wildfire zone, so they're high wildfire risk area, and they want to make sure that this house is safe. It's not going to burn down. Again, a lot of people lost homes in fires, and they just don't want to have that same experience again. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how it can help you with that, and the systems on the roof that are a big part of that as well. And these are also being used for energy efficiency. So they're very energy efficient as far as a structure, and they're durable. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about all those little pieces here and share with you about these roofing systems. So essentially, once you get, you start the design in your home, you're looking at the ICF walls. They're thicker, so we got to take that in mind when we're actually doing the layout on the houses as far as the floor plan goes, and make sure we got enough room in there. You're going to lose typically about 11 to 12 inches on the thickness of the walls. You got 2 1/4 inch foam, and you got a minimum like a 6-inch wall plus another 2 1/4 on top of that. So 2.5 or so. So you're pushing that 11 to 12 inches by the time you get drywall on there, and then you got to make sure you got enough space inside the house. So that's kind of your first consideration when you're doing that. You're gonna have to beef up your footings to carry the weight, that sort of thing. So a lot of times our interior walls will actually build those either out of wood, or we'll frame those out of a steel studs. So you can do it either way. If you're trying to get away from any wood in the house, you can do it that way. So okay, and so the way, actually I should mention too, the way that these things work is you have the ties. There's plastic ties, they're like T's almost, that tie the foam on either side together, and then those are used as actual anchor points that you use in the plastic, where you can screw drywall in on the inside of the house. You can also screw in siding, or you can do an EFIS type stucco system on the exterior of these homes, utilizing those tabs for your anchor points for any fastening that you have to do on interior exterior side. So all right, so that's really exterior of the home is where you get the most value out of this, because that's what's going from the out to the outside world as far as the cold and the heat that's coming in. So all right, so once you got your walls established, and what you're going to do is you're looking at your roofing system. So you can actually build a complete ICF structure to where you have the roofing system is done with the decking, and you essentially lay this decking down. You can do it on a pitch, or like a rake, or you can do it flat, and when you do that, it actually has it's got indentations on the top of it, or you're building beams out of essentially concrete beams with lots of rebar, and you pour that, and you have to put shoring underneath it. And once you pour that, you're going to have to keep that shoring in there for 28 days so this thing can cure out, and you got the strength that's there. And then that roof eventually it's like a concrete roof, and it'll span the entire house. You can use foam to build up on those roofs afterwards to get the flow you need to drains on a flat roof. So that's one way to do that. It's expensive to do that because there's a lot more labor to actually build a roof that way. And what you're looking at, the other alternative is that you would actually use a wood truss system, or that you would stack on top of these walls, or you can use a steel truss system that you can stack on top of the wall. So if you do that, there's a couple concerns when you're looking at the fire side of things. Wildfire and destroying the house potentially is regardless if we use wood or steel, we would want to make sure that we do not have any ventilation in that attic that's like exposed ventilation that's coming in for fire. So we would use a spray foam insulation that would go underneath in the attic up against the base of your sheeting. So the bottom side of the roof sheeting would have this spray foam insulation, and that allows us to not have to vent that attic space. and we're able to actually give some air exchange from inside the home up into that space. It's considered a semi-conditioned space, and then that allows us to not have to have the ratio of 1 square foot of net free air ventilation to 150 square feet of actual attic space. So like that, if you had 1,000 square foot house, you have to divide that by 150, and then that would give you the net free air ventilation that you'd have to have for that area. So 1 square foot for every 150 square feet to do that. So you do not have to do that. So you can eliminate your gable end vents. You can also eliminate any of your O'Hagan vents that you typically have there in that attic space. So that keeps the penetrations from any embers getting into the attic. So you definitely want to do that if you're in a high wildfire zone. So, okay, so talking about the wood versus the steel. So if you go with steel, you're going to spend a little bit more money on the trusses, but you don't have to worry about wood. There's no termites, there's no issues with fire, anything like that. So that's one positive. If you go with the wood, you can treat that with a fire-resistant compound that can go on there, or membrane, and then that'll keep it from catching fire. I mean, you could put a torch on the thing, and it will not light that thing on fire. So if you do treat it properly, so and we'll actually treat that during the framing stage before it gets covered up. So that's one thing. The other thing too is you can upgrade your sheeting that goes on the roof to where it is fire resistant. So you're able to have that extra barrier underneath a Class A roof. So you're going to have a Class A fire rated roof that'll go on top of that, that'll go on top of your fire resistant sheeting. So if anything was to ever go through, if you had the wind blow off any shingles, whatnot, and it got onto that sheeting, that's going to protect it as well underneath the Class A fire rated roof. So that's a couple different options as far as what you can do for the roofing. Actually, there's 3 options. You can go with ICF, and you can do it that way. You're going to spend more money that way, and you'll have a concrete roof. And then after that, you could do steel trusses, or you can also do wood trusses, and then you can use your sheeting and upgrade that to a product that is fire rated as well to help to give you a little bit more safety there on the fire side. So that is a couple different options on ICF for roof systems, and also kind of explains a little bit about what you can do as far as your walls and your layout in the process of initial process of figuring out your house. So, all right, so I hope that helps. If you want more information about building an ICF home, visit our website at tfgonline.com, and you get a ton of information there. Go to our resources page and also check out our FAQ page. You can get a ton of information. So, all right, thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.